Greetings, classmates, LSU family, professors. My name is Ashley Ramsey, and I will be presenting on expressions of folklore, understanding and preserving cultural heritage. My name is Ashley Ramsey. Let's begin. Traditional cultural expressions is what I decided to speak about. I did not pick one, and I will talk about that more in my closing. So I'm going to be giving a brief history, an overview of all of them, the issues, and the different types. Traditional cultural expressions, which I will refer to as TCE for the duration of this project, are artistic and cultural representations of a community's heritage and identity. These expressions are passed down orally through practice, preserving the community's knowledge, values, and traditions across generations. TCEs are crucial in preserving cultural identity. They provide meaningful opportunities to explore, learn from, and celebrate the colorful and diverse cultures that we have around the globe. Traditional cultural expressions also transmit traditions from one generation to the next, and they foster a sense of community, helping us connect and understand the legacies of our ancestors. So now I'm going to introduce the different types of TCEs. First are folktales, myths, and legends. These are oral histories that are passed down from generation to generation. They explain moral lessons. You get values of a culture through the folktales, folklores, myths, and storytelling, in addition to learning about their ethics. And they reflect the collective identity and societal norms. Next, we have performing arts, which is music, theater, song, dance, and other art forms. They're powerful, really, intangible, expressive forms that convey stories, emotion, history, and cultural values. They're often linked to certain particular ceremonies or celebration, and they're vital to transmit history throughout generations and strengthen community ties, and also to preserve cultural traditions, rituals, and ceremonies. They're important. These are life events that happen. And also, too, they represent intangible cultural heritage through symbolism. Sometimes they could be performative. And tradition, it fosters and helps social and spiritual unity. Traditional medicine. These are individuals that treat illnesses and advance health through traditional medicinal practices, and they make use of natural resources. In New Orleans, there are known as traitors, and these are individuals that are known as the medicine man, medicine woman, medicine person, that are able to use tangible elements such as instruments, materials, plants, and herbs to practice intangible cultural legacy. Through architecture, that's another form of a TCE. It reflects the cultural and spiritual environmental values of a community. What we saw in the previous slide was from China, and it was the architect there. Here, it's a picture from Morocco showing a beautiful building, and the tiles, if you pay attention to the detail that's on the wall, that's something that you cannot learn from a book. It has to be taught. This is also architecture from in Egypt inside of a pyramid. This is a tomb, and this architectural style and structure carries cultural and historical significance. If you look on the wall, you see the carvings in the wall. It embodies community identity and heritage. Through agriculture, that's another form of TCE. This is how communities have worked with their environment to survive and thrive. These practices involve raising crops, and we will learn about the potential threats that are taking place with some of these agriculture sites based off of the demand for certain crops because they are worth more or it's in high demand. But these are various forms that they are able to use for farming and agriculture, and that also too dictates the food that is developed in that area or region of the world. It also reflects a deep respect for ecosystems and sustainability, helping preserve biodiversity through unique cultural landscapes of each region. So characteristics of a TCE, we know about them, but their characteristics means through all of them, it's community-based, it's rooted in tradition, it's often oral or performative, it reflects cultural identity and values, and it's traditional, but it can adapt and maintain its significance over time. So the importance of TCEs. Through TCEs, I'm going to use one example. Through an oral tradition, we're experiencing a preservation of cultural heritage. A moral lesson and ethical value is being taught at the same time. They're understanding human nature. It's exploring cosmology and creation myths, if it's storytelling. And then it creates a sense of cultural identity and belonging. Moral lessons that are embodied in oral tradition: a respect for elders, honesty and integrity, unity and cooperation are being at play, in addition to courage and perseverance. And last but not least, environmental stewardship. So the importance of TCEs, like I said before: social connections. It strengthens the bond within the community. Diversity and creativity. It enriches global and cultural diversity. The importance of TCEs is it creates a cultural sense of identity. The person as an individual within their family, their community, and also their cultural community, as I've learned in this class. And then last but not least, intergenerational knowledge. It facilitates knowledge to transfer to the younger generations. These are different examples of TCEs now that are happening worldwide for my visual people. I have the Americas. We have hula and powwows. They basically showcase artistic and cultural heritage of Hawaiian and indigenous Native American communities. So through hula, it's a Hawaiian dance form that is accompanied by a chant, which is known as an oli, and or a song, which is known as mele. And hula serves as an expression of cultural identity and reflecting themes such as nature, mythology, and spirituality as well. They can use a ukulele or an ipu, which is a gourd drum that normally creates a beat when it's tapped on the ground, to accompany the dance and add to the depth of the performance of culture. Also in the Americas, we have powwows, as I speak about before. This is a gathering, but for those who are spiritual, I want you to think of it as a place of worship. The ground is sacred, and it creates a place where they are able to socialize and have music, and they wear wonderful regalia, which is beautiful. But each of the colors, the feathers, the beads have a meaning. And also, too, it's a cultural expression, but they're also able to preserve their traditions. In West and South Africa, through clothing, we have the Ghanaian kente cloth, which you see in my pictures that I have here. This cloth, you're able to tell which tribe individuals are from. The colors have meaning, but not only that, as we've seen in a video in earlier lesson in the class, the fabric is weaved by hand, and that is a practice that has been taught and transferred from generation to generation. Also, too, Zulu tribe has beads. These beads can be made into hats and adornments, as you see with the individual who is on my far left with the hat. She is wearing beaded garments made from Zulu beads. Each color has a meaning and symbolism with aspects of history, philosophy, and plays an important role in cultural and ceremonial events. In China, East Asia, traditional calligraphy is deeply rooted in Chinese philosophy, and it's transmitted through formal education and apprenticeships. In Australia, traditional Aboriginal medicine, please forgive me if I said it wrong, reflects the cultural beliefs and environmental knowledge of their community using spiritual ceremonies. In New Zealand, we have Maori tattoos, known as moko. It's more than just body art, but it represents ancestry, tribal affiliations, and personal achievements. This is also performed with a haka as well, where they are saying a chant loudly, and it is also too carried down from generation to generation, the chants that they say as well. In India, through the Biswar temple, please forgive me if I said it wrong, in Tamil, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site showcasing individual uniqueness through its architecture with sculptures, mural, and also too, they have murals and statues as well. And I tried to zoom in close so you could be able to see the pictures. Through agriculture, we have the Chimpana system in Mexico City. And this is a method of agriculture that was developed by the Aztecs. So where they have an irrigation system built in, as you see on the right-hand picture, with water, and they're able to grow certain crops. It's as if it's a sprinkler system without sprinklers. They have water separating the bodies of land where they're able to grow crops and harvest items. Some of them are still going on to this day. Some of them have been destroyed a bit because of the climate, as we learned about in the class, as well as like the different temperatures. And also too, for certain demands of certain crops, because they make more, they're higher in demand. Also too, with agriculture as well, please forgive me, it also dictates what items are grown in certain regions of the world. So legal protection and preservation. Key challenges really is a lack of recognition. TCEs face significant challenges, and one of them is exploitation without community consent. Today I was shopping and I saw a traditional indigenous print on a jacket that had nothing to do with the community in a major retail store. It's a lack of recognition of the cultural ownership, and it limits the acknowledgement of their value. Censorship of historical documents in regional histories further complicate preservation of cultural heritage, impacting documentation and the ability to manage resources effectively. We have two organizations such as WIPO and UNESCO who are helping us to be able to do this fight. And they have efforts to protect the TCEs. So organizations like UNESCO and WIPO are leading efforts to protect and safeguard TCEs. UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage Initiative promotes preservation and respect for cultural expressions, while WIPO advocates for intellectual property rights, ensuring communities benefit from their heritage, expanding auxiliary documentation through digitation and local archiving is also critical for long-term preservation and access. Generational shifts and impacts. The pandemic has led to a loss of many of our elders, or as I refer to them, custodians of cultural knowledge, placing the responsibility on middle-aged individuals to preserve their histories and traditions. Please forgive me. These new matriarchs and patriarchs must bridge the gap between generations, ensuring that younger individuals understand the generational shift and highlight the urgency of fostering connections to sustain cultural legacies. And that's huge because a lot of individuals, when they're a certain age, they're like, oh, this elder will always be here. But what happens when the elder is no longer present? Have they trained up someone to be able to carry the mantle of preserving the cultural history for that next generation? So I believe that we need to reserve legacies for future generations. That's one of the threats. And this is how we're able to prevent it. To ensure the continuity of cultural traditions, it's essential to strengthen educational programs and oral histories in addition to storytelling practices. They need to bridge generational gaps. Bridging generational gaps require intentional efforts to document and share cultural knowledge, creating pathways for future generations to carry forward the legacies of their ancestors. Also, too, we should be able to do this within our own families and within our own library systems, and creating programs that would be able to highlight that, would be able to help counteract the threat. So we wanted to know the why for me doing the project. Here is my why. This is a picture of my family, not all family members, but a good amount of them. We established 2 years ago that we were going to carry on our traditions. So we have matriarchs here and patriarchs here who have carried the traditions for our family. Every 2 years we come together, despite the absence of loved ones, to create a space for genealogy, auxiliary histories, and oral traditions. In these moments, we honor where we come from and reclaim what was stripped of us by weaving a tapestry of resilience, pride, and love for future generations. I honestly believe that traditional librarianship often neglects the vital role of cultural preservation and awareness. When I was looking for programs, this was one of the things that made me choose LSU because of this program. But as librarians, it's not only our duty to serve our patrons, but it's also our duty to equip ourselves with the tools and knowledge necessary to serve and share diverse histories. This training should honestly be required for every aspect of librarianship: public librarianship, academic librarianship, private librarianship, and specialty libraries and law libraries. We must push beyond the status quo, challenge ourselves, and commit ourselves to doing this essential work. For me, this isn't just professional, it's personal. Preserving our histories isn't only about honoring our past, but it's about building a legacy for my future, for the future of the generations that are coming after me as well. It's about building a legacy. So this is my why for doing the project. Everything that I've learned in this class about TCEs, the threats, the risks, the organizations that are here to help them, I've also instilled that into my family, and I hope to take it on with my future librarianship work. Again, my name is Ashley Ramsey, and this has been my presentation. I really want to thank you all so much for your time. It's been amazing going through this class with you all, and I look forward to the amazing things that you're going to do and to seeing your projects. Until next time, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.